guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be story time. I'm going to tell you a time where I should have went to HR but I didn't. And I'm going to tell you 4 of the main reasons why you should go to HR. So let's jump right into the video. Now, number 1 is going to be a toxic work environment. If you do feel like you're in a toxic or hostile work environment, that's definitely a reason to go to HR. So I'm going to jump into the story time for this first one. I was working at a place and my coworkers did not like me at all. I was the youngest person there. I think I was probably like 22. Everybody else was easily in their late 40s, early 50s. I just really wasn't liked. I didn't really do anything. They would pick on me. So like if I was doing something for a split second, like checking my phone, checking a text, they would go and tell our manager. If I did a quick Google search on best medical schools in the United States, they would go and snitch on me because at the time I was looking into going to med school. So I was doing a lot of researching, looking at stuff online when there were no patients around or when there were no tasks to be done. They would always go and tell my manager, and my manager would always say, don't have your phone out, and only pick on me. So my manager started to get very irritated with me because, I mean, why wouldn't she? There were about 6 other people, 7, 8 people always going to her saying that I was doing certain things that I shouldn't have been doing. Granted, I shouldn't have been on my phone, but I don't think that's a reason to go and tell the manager. My manager and I started to kind of like butt heads. We were really cool in the beginning, but we just started butting heads, and I think it was because I was trying to say, you know, looking at my phone for a split second is not that big of a deal. My colleagues were always on their phones. I could never understand why they were so upset when I was on mine. Like the environment started to change. I was going on a family trip and I told her that I needed, you know, 3 days off. It was going to be Thursday, Friday, and that following Monday. I gave her 2 weeks and she said no. Now, believe me, I was not making that much money back then. So I was like, there's no way you're going to tell me that I can't go on a vacation when I'm giving you 2 weeks just because you want to be petty. I just kind of ignored her and kept making plans to go on my vacation because that's my right. And you can't really stop me. She called me because my colleagues were being nosy, and at the time I thought they were my friends. She was like, you know, so I'm going to see you on Thursday, right? And I was like, actually, no, I told you I was taking 2 weeks off. I mean, I told you I was taking 3 days off 2 weeks ago, and you knew that. And she's like, well, I said you couldn't go. And, you know, words were exchanged, and eventually I was like, well, what's going to happen if I do go? And she said, if you don't come to work on Thursday, you will not have a job to come back to on Tuesday. That sounded like a threat. I could not believe this lady was threatening me just because I needed 3 days off. So at that point, I was in a panic, and I had a colleague, someone who I knew from previous working, who worked in that building, different department, and I went to them and I was like, hey, this person's saying they're gonna fire me if I don't come to work. I gave 2 weeks notice. You know, she said no for no reason, and the person was like, oh, she can't fire you for that. You should go to HR. In that moment, I didn't realize that I should have went to HR a long time ago. When my colleagues were harassing me, ganging up on me, I should have went there because it was very toxic and I was very miserable at this place. I didn't. And so when my colleague ended up telling me that, I was like, maybe I should. I ended up going on vacation, didn't go to HR before anyway, just ended up going on vacation. And I came back on Tuesday, went to work, everything was fine. And of course she didn't fire me because she had no one to replace me. In that moment, I was like, yeah, there's a possibility that she could end up firing me in the future or not rehiring me when my contract is over. So let me just start looking for jobs now. And I never went to HR to tell them about that experience. Like, you literally threatened me and told me that if I do something, I won't have a job to come back to. You can't threaten someone for giving you the proper protocol of the 2 weeks vacation. So that was just weird. But in that moment, that's where HR comes into play, because you should never feel like you're in a toxic or hostile work environment. So of course, number 1 is go to HR if you feel like you're in that situation, or if you feel like your colleagues are harassing you like they were me, make sure you go to HR. Number 2 is harassment. Of course, if someone's verbally harassing you, sexually harassing you, whatever types of harassment, you definitely need to report that to HR as soon as humanly possible. Number 3 is discrimination. If you feel like you're being discriminated against by your manager, your colleague, patients, anybody in the environment in which you are working, you are more than welcome to go to HR. And just so you guys know, HR keeps a file of everybody. So if somebody, one of your colleagues, let's say Bob, is harassing you verbally, and you go to HR, the first offense, and you say, Bob is harassing me and saying these types of things, it makes me uncomfortable, that goes into Bob's file. It goes into Bob's file. And if he's had a previous offense, that's all the more reason for them to fire somebody like that. And the last one, number 4, is benefits. If you have questions about your 401k, your Roth IRA, health insurance, dental, anything like that, HR is definitely the place to go to for benefits. It's really kind of like a guide. Like, I consider HR your fairy godmother in corporate America. That's all for today, guys. Make sure you like, share, and comment on this video, and come back next Tuesday for the next Career Savage video. Thanks for watching, guys.